We got Don Calloway, CEO and founder of Pine Street Advisors, a Dem. You see him on MSNBC. You see him for a little bit here. We'll go a little longer to get Don. How you doing, buddy? It's good to have you.
My brother, thank you for having me. Shout out to your team. Listen, I would have been here a lot earlier, but I've been out in the streets trying to observe, at least from what I can, from a man, woman on the street perspective in Virginia. I'm a campaign guy, and you
Yeah.
never quite get rid of the bug. So I had to get in the streets and see what was happening in Virginia. So
Don,
sorry,
for
I'm
you,
just
we forgive it. You know why? Because you're on the streets and you can talk
yeah.
about what do you. I mean, I think that I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion, but if I was a Dem, I'd be pretty confident in the governor's race in Virginia. Tell me what you're seeing out there, and tell me also, the boring question that everybody wants to know is, what does this mean? Is it a harbinger of something for the party, et cetera?
Yeah.
I've been making the argument. I don't think that is the case at all in New York City. Virginia is slightly different. What do you make of what's going on
Well,
in your neck of the woods?
Virginia is just such a fascinating election to watch. Of course, it's one of the only ones that is on this kind of odd schedule statewide. The governor can only serve one term, which
Yeah.
is one of the defining factors of how you get these kind of churning every 4 years. What I'm seeing is that Abigail Spanberger is likely going to prevail by a substantial margin in the governor's race. Winsome Earl Sears' campaign has stepped its professionalism up probably in the last 2 weeks, but it feels like it's too little too late. She wasn't quite able to establish an identity for herself. I will say that in terms of the national politics of that race, she was a Black woman immigrant running as a Republican, had all the leadership credentials, sitting lieutenant governor and former Marine who retired honorably. But it was fascinating. You just can't leave this out to watch Glenn Youngkin do his job as the party faithful. But the Trump administration did not, the Trump political machine simply did not get behind Winsome Earl Sears, which is not great for their credentials in trying to wipe the racism stench off of the MAGA movement. He endorsed 53 Republicans nationwide in a blanket statement last week, and Winsome Earl Sears was very conspicuously left out of that discussion of who Trump got behind, not only in that blanket endorsement, but throughout the course of her campaign. So I think that's.
Do you think that I mean, the people within Trump world are obviously reading these polls and like reading the tea leaves of this. And Donald Trump, as you know, and he only likes winners. And there
Yeah.
was pretty good sense in a late stage that she was not going to win. And is that more likely that I mean, I think that it's great for the MAGA movement if they have a Black female immigrant
Yeah.
veteran Republican that they can get behind that's phenomenal for them. But it looked more likely that she was not the candidate to beat Spanberger.
She was not going to win, but Abigail Spanberger was not unbeatable. And frankly, Donald Trump's celebrity could have given Winsome Earl Sears' campaign a substantial boost. If you get behind winners, from what I have seen over the last 10 years, there is no greater king, or in this case, queen maker in the Republican Party than Donald Trump. So we'll never really know what the magnitude of his endorsement would have meant. But I think it merits mention, particularly given the substantial amount of non-conventional Republican votes that the MAGA movement was able to attract just a year ago for the presidency. So I'm not saying that they're racist for not doing it. I'm not trying to jump to that conclusion like I maybe would have when I first started observing this. But I just think it's interesting to note, because it is not a direct opportunity to reach out to those tremendous amount of Black voters you got. I do want to address something really quickly. It looks like the Virginia House of Delegates is going to add some Democratic votes and go to about a 55 vote margin. Ongoing Speaker Don Scott says it looks like Jay Jones is maybe not going to be defeated as soundly as we thought. That campaign probably collapsed over the course of the last month, and rightfully so. But over the last week, we saw some Democrats kind of pushing back and saying, hey, we're going to vote for the AG, who is not going to just kowtow to the Trump administration and is going to provide some type of legal block in the federal courts around what the Trump administration wants to do. I'll lastly say, Mike, that I don't know that Virginia is something we should hold up as the national bellwether based upon tonight's results, because ultimately people in Northern Virginia experience the effects of government shutdown and federal furloughs to a more intense effect than people do elsewhere around the country. So it feels to me like those Northern Virginia voters may be reacting to the realities that they're seeing with their actual friends and neighbors, as opposed to this just being a referendum on the overall Trump feeling and sentiment nationwide.